We're going to start. Hi, my name is Kat, and I'm the program specialist for Girl Scouts Spirit of Nebraska. Should I start over because, hold on, are you recording?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kat, and I'm the program specialist for Girl Scouts Spirit of Nebraska in North Platte. We hope you are all staying healthy. Thank you so much for coming to our live program with Conservation Nebraska to learn about the crane migration. If you're interested in earning the Junior Animal Habitats badge or the Senior Voice for Animals badge, this is a great place to start. We will begin today with a presentation about the cranes, give you a challenge for your flat Juliet, and then we are all going to make origami cranes. So without further ado, please let me introduce you to Alicia and Eileen with Conversation Nebraska.
Hi guys, I'm Alicia with Conservation Nebraska, and we educate the public on conservation and how we can better our conservation habits and be a better steward of the land. Right, and today we're talking about crane migration. So I'll go ahead and start. So the Sandhill crane is what migrates through Nebraska. They are amongst the oldest living birds on the planet. There was a crane fossil found in asphalt fossil beds in northeast Nebraska. It is estimated to be about 10 million years old, and it's the crown crane, which is a close relative of the sandhill crane. The sandhill crane is about 3 to 4 feet in length, and then it weighs from 6 to 12 pounds. It has a wingspan of 6 to 7 feet, and then its lifespan is 20 to 40 years. They are omnivores. The cranes that visit the Platte River Valley feed primarily on waste grain left in cornfields, making up about 90% of their diet while they're here, and then the other 10% comes from plants and animal foods found in wet meadows by the river. Those are things like seeds, fleshy tubers of plants, grubs, earthworms, snails, amphibians, small reptiles, and small rodents. And then their flight speed is from 25 to 35 miles per hour. A lot of the times when they fly, it's dependent on a tailwind, and they can go about 200 to 300 miles a day. But on a good tailwind, they can go up to 500 miles a day. And then as far as their status, they are stable to increasing. There's only isolated numbers in Mississippi and Cuba that are endangered, and the total number of the subspecies would range from 600,000 to 800,000. Speaking of the subspecies, there's 5 subspecies of the sandhill crane. There's migratory subspecies, and the biggest one would be the Canadian sandhill crane, which is the one that migrates through Nebraska. And the non-migratory species would be in Florida, Mississippi, and the Cuban sandhill cranes. And then about 80% of the sandhill crane population is in Nebraska during their spring migration from late February to early April. So I have a map that shows how the cranes go right through Nebraska. They winter in southeast United States and in Mexico, and then they come back up to go to their nesting grounds, which they can go as north as Alaska or eastern Serbia. And they migrate through Nebraska, and they rest here on the Platte Valley, the Platte River Valley, from late February to early April. And something that you'll see when they're migrating through and resting is they do their crane dances, which I will show.
So it seems like we might be having some technical difficulties. Please bear with us.
Sorry, guys, the screen has turned off for some reason. We're working on getting it back up.
So while we're waiting for Conservation Nebraska to get their equipment back online, I just wanted to tell you a few things about the cranes. So when a crane jumps, what you see is the crane jumps up often toward a partner and into the wind. Their wings are spread out really far, but they kind of cup them in. So let me start my video here. Okay, so they kind of cup their wings in, or they're held back but still cupped, and their neck is upright, but they're pecking down. So it's kind of like a little bit of a weird jump. And they do this because it's a dance of courtship, sometimes a competition, and it's usually followed by, or it's usually right after something called the ground stab. And it usually reflects high spiritedness and even some play. So a ground stab, what that is they take the crane with the wings spread really far apart, they peck down at the ground. And basically what they're saying at that point when they peck down at the ground really fast is, look at me and let's dance. So it's usually, they usually do it in a flock on staging sites, and basically it recruits a dance partner. So whenever you're watching the cranes and they peck at the ground, it's because they want to dance and have fun. So let's see here. So there's also something called a jump rake. The crane leaps into the air and kicks his foot out towards his dance partner. But there is like no body contact. And that's also part of the dance. So it's used as well if they feel threatened, or if they feel like they need to attack to protect themselves, because their feet are very, very strong. So they also have this other dance move that they do, which is called the stab, grab, wave. So a crane stabs at the ground and they pick up a plant and they jump backward really, really far. So it would be kind of like this. So here we go. So the crane digs down and grabs a plant, right? And it jumps back and it waves it like this. So it's really, really silly. But that is one of their main dance moves. So they also run and flap their wings and spring forward. That move has a lot of different purposes. It's used to gain speed before flight, to threaten intruders. It can be part of a dance sequence. And sometimes it's just an expression of joy, that the crane is happy. So another one is a straight leg high step. The crane faces forward, their body is angled slightly up and their head is high. With the wings spread wide and cupped, the crane takes a few steps forward. Each leg is held out straight from the knee. So they're walking like this. But their wings are cupped the whole time. It's pretty neat. If you have the opportunity to go see the cranes that are here now, you definitely should go look at them. How are we doing with our screen?
I guess you got. We're working on it. We're getting it put back up. It's going to be just a little bit though.
Okay. So they also have an object toss. So during that dance, the crane could seize like a corn stalk or a feather or a twig or grass stem, and they fling it upward really high into the air, and then they watch it fall. So it looks like our crane video is up.
Yeah, we got it back.
give it right back over to you. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, so in that video, we saw the dance that Kat was talking about, where they pick things up and they throw it. So they dance in pairs, and they do the elaborate bowing, and they outstretch their wings, and they leap really high in the air. They pick up the stick or the or a corn cob often, and they do it repeatedly. This is believed to strengthen new pairs of cranes. Cranes mate for life, though they are hunted in several states, and that can lead to losing a mate. So they will have to select another. So that's often is what, when they dance on the Platte, they're selecting a new mate or building stronger bonds with an already picked mate. So then, as far as the cranes in the Platte River is the most important stopover for the cranes. It's where they rest. It's the perfect place for resting and to find food, as nearby farmlands and wet meadows provide abundant food for them. They use the river for nesting and at night for protection from predators. And they gain most of their energy for their migration on the Platte. Without the energy, the cranes might arrive at their breeding grounds in a weakened condition where their food supply can be limited until the growing season in spring begins. And then the Platte River has a variety of habitats that support the cranes. The most important is the Platte River itself. The river is very shallow and has sandbars. And they rest there at night for protection against predators like coyotes. And then as far as threats that the Sandhill cranes are facing, is habitat loss would be the biggest one. So that would be from wetland drainage and conversion of prairies, not having as many prairies because that is where they migrate through and where they like to rest. And then overhunting, there are locations in the United States that hunt cranes. So there would be in the southeastern United States, and that's usually on coastal Texas, Alabama, and southern Louisiana. And then ways that we can help cranes and keep them migrating through here and making sure they have a place to stop would be to support organizations that help conserve wildlife habitat, like the Crane Trust, Game and Parks, and Pheasants Forever. And then also improving our own conservation habits, like buying sustainable products, planting native plants, and avoiding herbicides and pesticides. And then where you can see the cranes would be at the Roe Sanctuary in Gibbon, Nebraska, the Crane Trust Visitor Center in Wood River, Nebraska. Dusty Trails here in North Platte is still doing their tours, just limited numbers. And then there's Sandhill Crane Spring Migrations in Kearney, North Platte, Grand Island, and Hastings. And then Ash Hollow State Historical Park in Llewellyn, Nebraska is a really good place to go see them because you can look down from the ridge and see all the cranes at the Platte River. And then if you do want to do a self-guided tour at the Visitor Center here in North Platte, there are self-guided tour maps. And that is it. Is there any questions?
I don't see any questions. We can go ahead and make our origami crane.
Okay. So right now we just have a plain piece of printer paper. And if you don't have origami paper on hand, that is okay. You can turn your printer paper into origami paper pretty quickly. So you just fold it down like a triangle like this. And you just cut off this little piece of paper that's left over. And now you have a square, which is what origami paper is. It's just squared paper. So you fold it in your first triangle. You'll unfold it, fold it the other way to make an X on the paper. So you have an X. And then you'll flip it over and fold it like hamburger style. Unfold it again, turn it, and then fold it hamburger style that way to make a T in the middle. So you have an X and a T. So then you'll turn it to where it's kind of like diamond shaped, and you'll grab the paper right here, and it'll kind of just want to fold in, and it'll fold into a diamond like this. And then you'll take one side and you will fold it towards the center line to make another smaller triangle, and do that on both sides. And then you will flip it over, and you still have a diamond right here, and you'll do the same thing folding to the center line. So then you kind of have a kite shape. Then you will unfold that and fold down this little triangle at the top, just like this. And then push it back, and then you'll pick up the paper, just one layer of paper right here, and fold it on that line you just created with folding the other. And then you'll push the folded smaller triangles in. And then fold that down like that. And you flip it over and do it again on the other side.
Alicia,
Yes?
will you slow down just a little bit for the younger kids?
Yeah. Okay, so then once you've folded those that way to the top, you'll have 3 layers of triangles. So you have 2 bigger triangles and 1 smaller triangle in the middle. And then the other side will be kind of like legs. So what you'll do then is you will take the points of the triangle, not the legs, but just this part of the triangle, and fold that to the center line like we did before, making smaller triangles. And do that on all of the sides. So they come together in like this. So then you have them smaller on each side, and you still have your legs, and these are connected. So then you'll take this one and the one next to it that have the folds on them and put them together, and on the other side where the folds are, you'll put those ones together. And then you'll smooth it down, and you'll have two smaller legs now at the top. And then you'll bring these, the one flap up, fold that up, and then flip it over and do the other side. And then again, you're going to take two that go together right here, put those together, put the other side together, fold it down, and then fold these flaps down now. And this creates the wings of the crane. And then these two like legs now, you're going to pull one back a little bit and fold it, and then pull the front one out a little bit. Press that down, and then we're going to make the head. So you can put your thumb inside here and bring it down. So then it creates the head. And you can splay it apart, and then that's the head. And that's how you make the origami cranes. And you can make it with printer paper, recycled paper, like this one was from an old piece of paper that I wasn't using anymore, or colored paper, or even bigger paper. So this one's larger. And that's how you make them. Okay, thank you guys for coming to listen about the Sandhill cranes. I'm going to send it back to Kat so she can close it out.
So before we go here today, I'd like to give a big shout out. Can you guys see me? Because I can't see myself. Okay, there I am. Can you hear me okay? All right. So before we end here today, I'd like to give a big shout out to Eileen and Alicia for putting together this program for all of us. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely learned some new things today. So for your Flat Juliet challenge, what we're going to challenge you to do is to go out, not outside, but, and then unless you want to, but to get your Flat Juliet to see some cranes. Here's mine. So don't forget to do your Flat Juliet challenge. So please also share your Flat Juliet Challenge on our Facebook page using the hashtags Girl Scouts at Home and GSSN. You can tune in tomorrow for a Facebook Live at 10 a.m. for live horse lessons with Dusty Trails, and at 2 p.m. for Astronomy Live to learn about light pollution and the sun. Just remember, we are part of a huge organization, and when you join us live, you're participating in a movement with millions of other girls and families across our country and around the world. Be safe, wash your hands, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye!